Hi guys, the car we're going to be working on today is a Kia Sedona. It's a Sedona. It's a 2003 model and is fitted with the 2.9 CRDI engine. The car came to me because, according to the guy, the car goes on limp mode, or it turns itself off, something like that, under hard acceleration. I've been testing the car here, idling, revving it up, looking at the live data. Everything looks okay. I mean, the rail pressures are reached, the requested rail pressures of the ECU are reached by the pump, so everything looks okay over there. Now there is one code here, was more codes, but I've deleted the other codes. The other codes were for the inlet valve, something like that. But we still have this code that comes up as soon as you start the engine. So that's the code. The engine starts okay, even with the other faults that were here before. The engine carry on starting okay. The other faults, they didn't came up yet, despite the fact that I've been accelerating everything, I believe, because the actual fault did not occur yet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go for a drive. I'm going to try to replicate the fault and see which more faults comes up. Okay guys, I went for a drive. I could not replicate the fault where the engine actually turns itself off or goes on limp mode, as I've been told, but the other two codes, they actually came up now. The car behaved fine all the way, no problems at all, but we got a fault for this valve here. Now is P1119, sorry, 1119 and P1120. Although it just says inlet metering valve control malfunction, I do strongly believe this fault is for the common rail system, and it's probably going to be for the pressure regulator, but we have that fault there as well. So I'm going to try to we're going to try to investigate all these. Obviously these two faults, they are related, so if I solve one, possibly I'll solve both, and obviously that one as well. So first thing I'm going to do is obviously check for wirings and stuff like that, but hopefully I can take you through the whole process. So a bit more research, and the two codes for the inlet valves, or P0340 and P1120, is indeed related to the combat rail pressure or fuel pressure, high pressure. So that's what is that about? But I'm gonna try to concentrate on the camshaft first, and then I'll move to the other one. So the first thing I'm going to do, I've located the ECU already. The ECU is underneath there, so we're going to take that cover off, and basically I'm going to measure the wires from the ECU back to the camshaft sensor. There is a plug just before the sensor. There's a bit of cable on the sensor, which I'm going to show you. So that's the sensor over here, and it does have this little bit of cable that comes all the way under that plug over there. So I'm going to unplug this here and measure these from here back to the ECU. If everything is okay, we're going to put the oscilloscope on it, and we're going to see whether the oscilloscope, see what's going on. So I've now measured all the wires, the 3 wires from the sensor. they come all into the ECU, and they all come into this plug here. Pin 1 on the sensor is pin 1E over here, so it's row number 1, and then you have letters, so it's row 1, letter E is pin number 1, then pin number 2 is row 2 on the E as well, and number 3 the same on row number 3. So this is the pin assignment. I've checked the wires with this unplugged and checked on the other end. There's no shorts on the wire from the sensor to here. I can't really see nothing wrong with it. So what I'm going to do now is, because of this, what I'm going to look at is, I'm going to open the ECU, if it is open, and I'm going to see if there's anything visible inside of the ECU just before I put everything back together. But this doesn't look good. Obviously this is for the injectors. The car's still starting just fine, so obviously there's a contact here, but don't know, you never know. So I'm now measuring the sensor at the ECU. So I've measured the ground is there, no problem. So I now have 2 pins here. So this first one, where this probe is touching, which is this top one, okay, over there, it should be the feed to the sensor, so we should get 5 volts on this. I'm gonna put that probe on the ground, and we're gonna see the voltage. So 5.62 volts, so that's more than good. That's the reference voltage to the sensor. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna disconnect this. So my probe is already connected, my oscilloscope probe is already connected over there to pin number 2, which is the feedback from the sensor. So if I measure this, I'm gonna try to do this. Sorry guys. So if I measure that pin, so I'm trying to do this without turning it off. So if I measure pin number 2, sorry guys, it's a bit difficult to do it like this with one hand only. Okay, I think that's it. So if I measure that feedback from the sensor, the signal, with the multimeter, what you're gonna get is gonna be that. So 4.8. But that doesn't tell if the sensor is working, because the frequency is so high that the multimeter is not quick enough to measure that drop and raise of the voltage. So that's why you need an oscilloscope for jobs like this. So we're going to connect the oscilloscope now. I have the ground already connected, as you can see. Nah, it's just coming off. And then put it again. That's it. And let's gonna connect our probe into that pin. It's coming off the ground. Okay. Now we're gonna change that to scope, and there it is. I'm gonna put that over there so I can go to the driver's side. So there is, we have a signal. I'm gonna bring it back a little bit. No, a little bit round. Okay, so now I'm gonna press the pedal, and what you should see is that square wave should close slightly. So the frequency is gonna go up, and that's gonna close, which means the frequency is higher because the engine is rotating faster, obviously. So that is a good indication for us to see if the sensor is working. So the sensor is working. The sensor is definitely working fine. So providing that, I'm a little bit confused why the ECU is keep reporting keeps reporting this sensor as a faulty sensor. It doesn't make any sense. So we're just gonna go to the engine again. Obviously that fault is over there, is in there still, surely. Yeah, it is. Hang on a minute. There's two sensors. It says sensor A. Oh, I missed this. Bank 1, so that means we have another sensor somewhere. So a quick inspection revealed that there's no other sensor actually. It's only one sensor. I call them sensor A for some reason, but there's no other sensors, and this sensor, as we can see, is working just fine. And sorry guys, just turned itself off. And obviously the signal is get all the way to the ECU because it's just over there. I'm measuring it just at the pin, so obviously something wrong with ICU. I must have guessed. It's just a hunch, but I believe there's something wrong with ICU. Okay, so because of I'm doing this video as I'm doing the work, and I really need to give this car back by the end of the day. So basically what I'm going to do is, because I can't see nothing wrong with the sensor as you have seen, I'm going to move into the next problem for the rail system, fuel system. Once again, the sensor looks okay to me. I don't know yet why the ECU is reporting a fault for that sensor. I think I finished by mentioned about a sensor, but, well, I said already, it's only one sensor fitted in there. There's not two sensors, so I'm a little bit, I don't know yet, to be honest with you guys, what is wrong with it. But I'm going to move to the next problem for the fuel. So what I've done just now, I'm going to show you. So what I've done is a leak-off test. So I put these little tubes on the return of each injector, and I've capped the returns inlets here. All these came down to here. Bear in mind, guys, this is not a fancy back leak test. It's just something that I've made myself, but I have good results already. And as you're going to see, if I level these bottles, so you can see number 2, you can see number 1 in there already is much higher. The bottles are not leveled, I'm afraid. I'm afraid that the bottles are not leveled, but I'm trying to level the bottles, so you can see a difference in there already. It's going to turn the bottle. This is for number 3 on the right hand side. and look at number 4. Look at that, guys. And obviously if I compare it with number 1 and number 4, look at that. This was running for about 60 seconds, and that's where you go. So definitely number 4 is really bad. The best injector is obviously number 2. All the other ones, they are leaking more than number 2, as you can see. Number 2 there on the right side, and look for the difference. But obviously number 4 is definitely quite bad. So with the injector leaking this much, what means is that when the injector closes, is leaking back fuel. So that obviously decreases the pressure on a rail substantially. I'm actually quite surprised that the car is still starting leaking this much. So obviously this car is going to need some injector repairs, and that's it, guys. I think for the fuel system, the problem is diagnosed. That injector over there mainly. Number 2 is good. Then we have number 1, number 3. Yeah, probably acceptable, but that one is leaking way too much. I've called it number 4 from there to there. Don't know if that's the sequence, if it's 1 to 4 or 1 to 4, but I've called it 1, 2, 3, 4. So number 4 is really bad, and this injector works is a type of work that I do not do here. You know, if these injectors get stuck, I don't have the tools or the conditions over here to do it, so I'm gonna pass the car back to the owner, and he's gonna have to sort this first. Guys, I know this video didn't really take it to any conclusion regarding to the cam sensor, but that should not stop the engine anyway, even if the sensor is failing. This is probably what is actually turning the engine off. So sorry if I'm not giving you any actually fixings, but hopefully you have learned something from the steps I've took and how I've done it. Who knows, it might be helpful for you in the future. Guys, thank you for watching. Any comments, put them below, and as always, thank you for watching.